Hey chat, what's going on? It's the Anarkist here, and I just crash landed on this alien planet, man. It's kind of weird to look at, but hey, we're here. I would say the landing went pretty good, all things considered.
Deploying parachute. Deploying backup parachute. Skipping parachute.
But hey, I'm sure that was an accident. The company that put me here would never put me in harm's way. Honestly, I think I'm going to be doing some really important work for them. They've given me an instruction just to start building a base of operations here and then start looking at what we can do to meet the goals that they've given me. So let's go look around, see if we can find a place to put down our home, and then start tackling some of these milestones. Holy cow, y'all. This place is gorgeous. Right here seems to be a pretty good spot. We got some iron nodes and a friendly little critter. Oh, hello, guy. Oh, he just fell off a cliff. Is he all right? Oh, there he goes. He's all good. Let's go say hi. So this is a lot of iron to start out with, but let's see if we can find some copper and some limestone around here as well. So there's some copper just over there, and we have some limestone in every direction here. So honestly, this could be okay here. Boop. There we go. And we can kind of just admire the landscape along here. Honestly, not too bad for a little beginner area over here. Let's head on inside and see what we can find. So our next objective here is to build the space elevator. So let's have a look here. As you can see, we need quite a lot of things to make. Luckily, everything there we can actually just go ahead and craft, but we need everything to do it. So for example, we need iron. We can go just mine a bunch of iron and then craft a bunch of it all together. Or we could have some machines do it. So let's see here. The basics seem to be iron plates, iron rods, concrete, and wire. To make iron plates, we just need iron, and to make iron, we just need raw iron ore, which we have right down here. We can go ahead and just put down a miner right here. Then this smelter right here is gonna go ahead and smelt everything into ingots. We just gotta connect those up. Then if we toss down a constructor here and connect these up, we can tell it to make those iron ingots into iron plates. And then we can give that an output into here. And there we go. That's a little bit of a factory here, but you may notice that nothing's actually working. That's because we need to supply this with power. This is going to use 5 megawatts, here is going to use 4, and here is going to use 4. Luckily, as I said, the company that put me here is just so kind and generous, and they've given us some biomass burners, a little bit of a generator in the back. Now we do need to give these a bit of fuel, and they'll give us 20 megawatts each. But you can see right down here in the biomass tab, we can actually convert all these leaves and wood into biomass. So let's go ahead and give this some fuel here, slap down power to all these guys, and connect them up. Here we go. We got iron coming out of there. That's going to go into the smelter here, which is going to get some iron ingots going. And finally, we'll get some iron plates stored, which is pretty cool. So we can just leave this running, and as long as it's running, as long as it has power, we'll be getting iron plates for our troubles, which is really nice. Let's go ahead and set up something similar to the plates and start making iron rods. There we go. And then let's get the iron rods connected up there. Nice. Now, obviously, this isn't the perfect factory. We can do a lot more than this, but at the very least, right now, we're going to be getting in resources, which is very important. Don't worry though, building the space elevator is not our only objective here, so they've given us some things to do in the meantime. We can unlock these milestones, and in return we get these reward build pieces. So here we can unlock base building parts, which is walls and foundations. Here we get some more complex like build parts for conveyor belts and all that sort of thing. This will be very helpful for us, as well as these, and plenty of other things that we can unlock. See, If the company was mean, why would they give me the option to unlock these? I mean, I guess they could just give it to me, but I'm sure there's a reason that they didn't. They're a nice company, I swear. All right, let's get our mind off of that for right now, and let's go ahead and start making wire. So as you can see, wire is the same here. We need copper ingots, which is just made from copper. So let's go ahead and head over to this copper node right now and see if we can get some factorying going. Here we are. Oh, it's defended by a friend. That's okay. There we go. So let's set up our miners on these, just so we can get them back to base. I happen to know that concrete's pretty easy. We just select concrete. It'll take limestone in and spit out concrete, allowing us to just take this back to base how we choose. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated though. Let's go ahead and throw down a smelter. Then a constructor. Make sure we select copper ingot and wire, and there we go. Let's hook these up with power here and do the same here. There we go. We got some stuff coming out now, hopefully. Uh-oh, that's no good. So if you remember when we were looking at the power supply before, you can see in these that our max consumption is 48. But with these only producing 20 megawatts each, well, that's 48, which is not enough. Luckily, we have biomass burners that we can place down ourselves. We don't just have to rely on this. So if we make sure everything's connected up here, which is a bit awkward, but I just want to make sure we have enough outputs. Give this some fuel. Give that thing a switch. Everything's back on. Alright, so now we're automating mostly all the basic resources, at least the ones that I saw required for the space elevator. However, as I said, it's probably going to take us quite a little bit to get those resources. And there's a couple other things we can do while waiting for that. And one of the things we can do is certainly make these factories a little bit better. Oh, that's a wall. You can kind of see here that this iron isn't really flowing into the smelter very well. And the reason for that is that this smelter takes 30 iron per minute and converts it into 30 iron ingots per minute. Now that's pretty good for this constructor, which takes 30 iron ingots per minute, but this miner is actually producing 60 iron ore per minute, which is twice as much than this could handle. That means we're actually wasting quite a lot of resources here. If only we had a way to split this conveyor belt into two options. That way we could have two smelters running, two constructors making plates, and making them a lot faster. That's where this kind of milestones come in here. We can get the conveyor merger and splitter as well as the lift by just submitting these parts. I certainly want the lift, just so I could lift the resources up here and have some storage containers up here instead of down there. And with just a little bit of crafting, here we go. We can unlock everything. Let's extend this up. And do the same here. So with the conveyor splitters, we can place them down, have more machines running, all that good stuff, right? However, because we're doing that, we're going to be using a lot more power because we're placing more machines down. So with power being on the mind here, I'm thinking that actually we're going to jump ahead to obstacle clearing, which will give us the most efficient form of biofuel here. For this though, we need a little bit more complex items. So to get screws, we need to turn rods into them. So let's just take a couple rods from our factory here using those splitters and convert them right into screws up here. This is going to be an output for screws right here. And let's see if we can just make something really quick for cables as well. Cable is also a bit similar. It's made from wire itself. So we're just going to do the same thing over by our copper node. Wire. And then we'll use that to make cable. And we're just going to go ahead and connect that pretty much directly into our wire line here. This is going to merge them together instead of split them. So as we get the cables coming in, they're just going to merge right onto that line. Now, unfortunately, the more power we use, the more, fuel we're going to use. So we do have to worry about powering the generators for now. So I'm going to go run around a little bit do a little bit of leaf pick in here and see if we can power these generators just a little bit longer until we can get the proper biofuel. Now that we have everything here, so we're just going to go ahead and convert all of our biomass into biofuel, except we're not going to do that because look at how long this takes to craft. We can put a little bit of solid biofuel in each of these and then run it. Bap. Then connect it back up to our grid. And genuinely, I'm just going to have a constructor work on solid biofuel here. So with power being the main thing on our mind here, let's go ahead and build a chainsaw. And this right here should solve a lot of our fuel problems. And we just chop that down. And let's just start unlocking pretty much everything else. I would say things are going pretty good here now. We got a lot of resources coming in and we have a lot of the milestones unlocked, but I did notice one milestone that I wanted to save until last. Right here, we have the field research milestone, which unlocks a few things, which will be explored later on, I suppose, but also unlocks the map. So right now we can't actually see our surroundings. We have an M key right there, but I can't access the map. The reason that I think that's going to be so important though, is if I scan here for iron, say, we get these 3 nodes, but we can also see some off in the distance. If I have the map, I can see exactly where those nodes are and their purity level. Every node, including the iron all the way over there so far, has been normal. You can see here that this is extracting 60 copper per minute, but over here, we have a pure limestone node, and that's actually outputting 120 per minute. Now this isn't super important for the beginning because we only had these conveyor belts that could move 60 items per minute. But now we have the level 2 ones, which can transport up to 120. So what I'm thinking is we're going to unlock this map, scan the area for all resources, and see if we can find an area that has a lot of pure nodes. I'm thinking that we start up a really big factory there, and now that we have all the milestones, we have all these build pieces, foundations, walls, proper logistics, we start building an actual nice factory over there. Now don't get me wrong, this place is gonna be great and it's gonna stay here for at least the time being, supplying us with all the materials we need to build anything that we could want. I think it'd be much more worthwhile to find a better place to build in the future using the map. So all we gotta do is wait for our drop pod to return. Actually, is that it all the way up there? I can kind of see it. Oh, here it comes. Back down to earth, and with it returning we can upload everything we have for the field research. But now let's do what we came here to do and scan for iron ore and check out the map.
The effigy has no song.